Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we have the RockyMounts AfterParty Swing Away Bike Rack, and we'll take a look at how it fits our 2022 Honda Odyssey. So the AfterParty is ideal if you want a rack that swings away and gives you all the clearance. So if you're using your Odyssey for the camping car, maybe you're at your destination, you want to set up camp behind the car, this is going to be a great way to do so while still carrying around your bikes in a safe manner. This is very similar to the RockyMounts GuideRail, so if you're curious about the features of this rack, check out the full review. Now we're going to focus on the Odyssey, and first I'm going to tilt this down. It has a pretty deep tilt, which then means that even with your large hatch door, there's still plenty of clearance between the door, our pedals, and our handlebars. We can now grab our larger items, whether it's our helmets, our large bags, or if we want to switch out our shoes real quick, we can do so without having to take the bikes off. And once the door closes, I do recommend holding on to the rack by some part of its frame and only slightly holding on to the bikes instead of putting your whole weight on them. Once it lifts up, it clicks into place and you are now ready to drive. So what types of bikes can you carry with this rack? Well, you have a 60-pound weight capacity for heavy electric bikes. You also have a really long wheelbase capacity of up to 55 inches. And where this shines is the way it mounts and dismounts bikes, because it has a dual wheel mount design. So what I do is I press on the lever first to disengage the rack. I just press down here, and then I lift out on the lever. So make sure it's in the unlock position. So press and then lift. And once you've done that, you can then just push out on those wheel mounts. So 1 and 2. You can even go all the way down to the ground if that makes it easier for you to ramp your bike up and down. It's not necessarily with a ramp, but you'll still have to give it a little bit of a lift before you can go. Now this does have a tire width capacity of up to 3 inches, as you can see on the wheel mount and the trays. It's not that wide, so if you have extra fat tire bikes, you will have to be mindful of that when using this rack. Now here where it starts ratcheting, we're going to put it into the lock position, and then you can hear it click, which is how it secures your front and your rear wheels. And that's going to be good if you have different style frames, whether it's a carbon frame or a step-through frame like you would see in cruisers. This can accommodate them. Now this does take up some space behind your car. We're going to measure from the bumper to the end of the rack here, and that is, let's see, 29.5 inches. That's going to be the amount of space you'll have to think about when you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot, especially since the Odyssey is already a larger vehicle. Next is ground clearance. So end of the rack to the ground is 26.5 inches. That's how high you're going to have to lift your bike up to get into this rack. If you do use that 60-pound weight capacity and you have extra heavy electric bikes, you will have to be mindful of that distance. So hopefully how I showed you how to put the arms all the way down helps out with that. Next we're going to lift this up. So pull the lever at the back, lift up, and it snaps into place. Some quick measurements here. Distance between bumper and the rack is 2 inches. Plenty of clearance. Bumper to end of the rack is 14.5 inches. Big difference compared to when it was folded down. You'll want it in this position when you're just driving around town and you don't want to take your bikes out just yet. We also don't want to take the heavy rack off. Now, living with this bike rack behind your car means that your taillights are visible, your rear window is visible, your backup camera sits behind the rack in this opening between the main mast and the tray. So what's going to happen is that when you go into reverse, you'll definitely see the rack behind you, but you'll also be able to see if there's any cars or people behind you. You won't have full visibility though, so you may want to bring this into the down position. This does swing away, Now with the bike on, that would be a lot more obvious. So we'll just show you real quick how to swing it away. So rotate that handle and then lift up on the knob in the corner once it's fully released. This does have a lot of thread, so it will take a good amount of time. See, it's still attached there. And now we're loose. And then this has pretty much a 90-degree swing, but also a 180-degree swing, where it goes all the way out right there. So notice how if you did have your bikes on, you could swing them out all the way out. You can get your bikes from over here, and then these are the knobs you'd have to access to bring them back in. So this will pivot the rack in, and this will as well. So it's pretty easy compared to some other racks, although you do have to be mindful that there's a lot of pivoting to do. There we go. So when you are at the campsite or you're at the trails and you want to swing away to get access into your hatch, I do recommend just tilting the whole rack away for something quick and easy, and then using the swing away feature when you're ready to camp for an extended period of time. All in all, the RockyMounts AfterParty is great if you're using your Odyssey as a maybe weekend or full-time camping vehicle. If you just need a quick and easy access into your hatch while still able to carry around your heavier bikes, I do recommend taking a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail instead. But this right here was a look at the RockyMounts AfterParty Swing Away Bike Rack on the 2022 Honda Odyssey.
Here we are on our test course. As we hit the alternating bumps, you can see what it would be like to hit a pothole on the road. Our solid speed bumps simulate pulling in and out of a driveway or hitting a speed bump in a parking lot. We use the slalom portion of our course to simulate the side-to-side movement, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvers.